If they never helped you, get out. Even if they help you once in a while, if it never helped you most of the time, you need to get out of listening to what they're saying. Because welcome to the Burn Brown's Cuts to Facts Series podcast show. I'm your host, Brendan Brown, and today this is our season 11 premiere, the first episode of this season. It's been a while, but I just want to tell you guys that we're going to talk about how to overcome the ability of being manipulative. The first way on how you should ignore what a person is saying is ignore them if the words they say never impacted you or ever helped you. For example, I've dealt that with many people in my life personally that I'm not going to reference. If you just take in advice that doesn't help you and they never helped you, if they 999.999% never helped you, get out. Even if they help you once in a while, if it never helped you most of the time, you need to get out of listening to what they're saying, because 9 times out of 10 they may be trying to manipulate you to do what they want you to do. And you, the dummy here, no offense to you, are thinking, maybe so-and-so is right. Even though this is the 10th time he never done it right. He never said nothing right. Maybe so-and-so might be right. Or, let me try this. No. And with ignoring people goes to my second one, which is kind of similar but a little bit different here, is stop always listening to what your parents, your friends, and your family are saying. Because sometimes the close people in our lives, not all of them, but some of them may not say the right things. And sometimes it could be our parents, because for some people, some parents are very aggressive with them. For some people, some parents are to a point where they don't care and they just fake it. They're just like, oh, everything's all right, honey, and don't even know what's going on. At the end of the day, sometimes you may have to stop listening to your parents or friends or family just to get better insight from someone else. Sometimes they do it. From my experience, my parents, is that sometimes when they say things, it's not that they're saying it to be mean. They just don't know how to conduct it or how to say it or how to explain it, because in their time they were raised, get it ingrained in your head, programmed. Versus me, I'm not that guy who can easily get things programmed in my brain. I'm more of a guy who's very deep perspective. You gotta sit down and talk to me and explain to me what's going on. Which in fact, like I say, my mother, we always have deep perspective conversations, even though sometimes we may butt heads because we're human, but we always have that deep, impactful conversations. Now you're probably wondering, oh, what about you and your father? It's different. My mother have deep perspective conversations. Even sometimes me and my buddies, we have deep perspective conversations about what's going on in their lives. Just know that sometimes when people are telling you things, especially your parents, sometimes they're not being really offensive. They're just not explaining it right, because they're probably overprotective or just trying to help you in the wrong way. And it could be with your friends or whoever too, sometimes. The next one is let go of worrying about people. Sometimes we worry too much about people because of the fact that in our brains, psychologically, we're supposed to think the worst sometimes. Now, I'm just telling you, I'm not no therapist, I'm not no counselor, I'm not licensed for nothing. This is all just my personal opinions and advice. But that's all I'm just saying, because like your psyche, sometimes we may get a little bit nervous or anxious and things. And that's what causes a lot of anxiety, worrying about people. That causes a lot of anxiety to really cause people in general to change their perspective about that person, because they're worrying about them so much. Vice versa, the person telling them things is changing their perspective too. So let go of worrying about people, because at the end of the day, what they say may not impact what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, what they're saying could be a lie, could be a rumor, could be anything. But at the end of the day, you can't worry about what they're thinking. You gotta worry about what you're thinking. You gotta live it for you. You gotta do it for you. You can't do it for no one else. Only do it for you. Because at the end of the day, that friend, significant other, family member, whoever it is, whatever they say, even if it's a stranger, it's not definitive. Your mindset is what's definitive. For example, 3 examples is that if your boss is rude, leave the job. I'm not recommending everybody to go leave their job and go have fun, because everybody's not made to be self-employed or to switch up jobs. Some people are made to maybe stay at that job and maybe their purpose. Now for me as a content creator, this may be kind of weird because I always talk about leave the job and pursue your purpose, but some people's purpose is on a normal 9-to-5 job. But to get to the point here, to really examine what I'm talking about to the video, if your boss is rude, leave the job. If your parents are rude, leave the house if you're in a doubt. If you're a teenager, go in your room, relax, cool it down. If your friend or significant other is toying with you, leave them alone. Don't bother with them. Don't talk with them. Leave them alone until they talk back to you and apologize. Then that's when you can come back and be like, well, I forgive you and things. But at the end of the day, don't bother with them. They're human, yes. Don't hate them. Don't ever hate nobody. But don't be bothered with them. Just leave them alone until they get straight. The next one is think deep about what the person is saying. For example, hopefully this ain't controversial here, but if a teenager going to a school sports game and the parent is saying, well, hey, I want to protect you. I want to make sure everything's all right because I heard there's a lot of fights or there's a lot of shooting and things that happen. And in fact, what if there's not a lot of shootings and things happening and it's just their perspective of thinking about it through fear? Because maybe only 2 shootings may have happened, but because they're so fearful, they're thinking that. Or even, let's just say this, even if it is multiple shootings, you as the parent being there won't change anything at all. You got to be aware. I 100% agree on parents telling their kids be careful. I 100% agree in general that you should be aware of your surroundings, but you can't control what happens outside your command. Whatever happens, happens. Just like if a parent is telling their kid, oh, do this, do this, do that, and they're a grown adult, you can't force your kid what to do. You can't force your kid to make that financial plan. You can't force them to do what this is, what that is, even if it is something good. You can't force them. It's out of your control. Only they have control because it's their choice. It's their life. Yes, as teenagers, as kids, we may not have our choices here, but the adults who are children to their parents have control in their lives. And even as us as teenagers, we have control too, but to a certain extent. But even with us too, when it comes to our emotions, everything, we have a choice to speak it to. And that's why if a person ever say anything crazy, truly think about it, think deep about it, and make sure that it's nothing ridiculous or out of line, which leads to our next one, which is getting out of line. When you speak in bad, like saying, lowering standards, basically like saying, oh man, you can't do that, man, because you're black. You can do that because you're white. You can get up there. No, just because you're black, just because you're white doesn't mean nothing. Yes, maybe you're probably looking at me like, oh, you're probably crazy. You're black. No. Just because I'm black, just because this person is white or whoever it is, doesn't mean nothing. Anybody can do anything if they put themselves first, or if you're faith-based, you put God first, because God can do anything if you place Him first in your life. I'm telling you, you place Him first in your life, you be consistent with His word, He'll take care of you. And I'm only saying this just to let you know, I'm not forcing you or anything. I'm personally a Christian, so I reference Him. I give Him the honor and glory. Don't let people stop you from thinking what you're thinking. And when they're saying that, they're out of line. And that's the 5th sign that shows that they're manipulating you. And you have to get over that. So once you know that sign, my bonus one here on how you can get away from the ability of being manipulative, and this isn't a sign or con, this is actually a pro thing, is a mentor. Find a mentor. Find that person, or even go to therapy if that's the case, to help make sure you make the right decisions. Or have a person who is not even therapy, actually, I'm wrong. Have a coach or somebody help you one-on-one on how you should do this and do that, because sometimes some people may not depend on their friends or their family or anything. They may have to depend on a person who really can help them, that's unbiased, that can really show them what routes to go. And sometimes being biased is good, sometimes being unbiased is good, sometimes both are being bad. But definitively get a mentor. Get a mentor, because sometimes getting a mentor can help out a lot. Hopefully you enjoyed this wonderful podcast show, guys. I just wanted to tell you that recently I've been inconsistent with the podcast and everything, but now that we're premiering back with season 11, I just want to tell you that I'm going to get back into being consistent. I know it's been a lot. This summer I had a lot of vacations. I started school too, so that kind of messed up my schedule a little bit, but we're going to get back to the scheduling of posting content, being consistent, and we're going to get to it, guys. So hopefully you enjoy this wonderful episode, and God bless you.